First order of business is the selection of an acting council president in the absence of Council President Dorminio.
Nominate Mrs. Maluka.
Second.
Acting President.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council President?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilman Maluka?
Here.
Councilman Garrick?
Here.
Councilman Accomando?
Here.
Councilwoman Meza?
Here.
And Council President Dorminio is here, unable to attend this evening due to illness.
Please rise to salute the flag, and I believe that we have is going to remain standing to honor all veterans as Veterans Day will be next Thursday. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the Township Council, during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Southbrook may not be privileged or protected. And that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
I will entertain a motion to open the meeting to the public. Motion by Mr. Mazur, second by Mr. Accomando. Roll call.
Councilman Garrick,
Yes.
Councilman Accomando,
Yes.
Councilwoman Meza,
Yes.
Council President Maluka.
Yes, meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wish to address the council, please come forward.
Anybody get up? No? I'm the only one? Because it's just me.
Entertain a motion to close.
Good evening, everyone. Amos Sewell, 412 Van Loon Terrace, Southbrook. Things I've brought up in the past that I really didn't want to speak about tonight. First thing I want to, I think I've discussed this, we discussed this at the last meeting about possibly getting a dog park here in town. I don't know if any of you people looked into that at all. I just think it would be a good idea to do that. And I kind of suggested that little park area on Kern where the jungle gym is. There's most of that park is totally not used. And I just think it would be a great area if it was, fenced in and maybe put some stuff in there for dogs to do, run around. And, cleaning facility for if they do make a mistake there, they can clean it up. My neighborhood is just pounded at least twice a day, in the morning and evening when people get home from work, with people walking their dogs and making a mess of the neighborhood. All my neighbors have been putting out signs, curb your dog and all that. And I don't know, that really hasn't been doing anything. These people really don't have a destination to bring their dogs. I feel if they had a destination, maybe a couple of them around town, they don't have to be gigantic. Wherever you have property available, to look into something like that. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, once again, 5th Street. If you're in your car driving north on 5th Street from 46, on the left-hand side, there's commercial buildings. On the right side of the roadway, there's all houses. Most of the businesses that are there are well-maintained. The grass is cut neatly, flowers are planted until you get to the old amyloid site, where the weeds are now probably 4 feet high. The building that is in the back, I don't know what the deal is, looks like it's abandoned or whatever. If you look at it now, they're starting to spray graffiti all over the front of it. It looks horrible. If you can get your property management people to look into this, to get the guy to spruce up that property and get rid of that graffiti, because it's, what's next there? We're gonna start to get rodents, you're gonna get rats and everything else. And if you own the house on that block, you know, God forbid, you know, your property value has gotta be a lot worse. And just living across the street from that eyesore, if something was done about it, it could, you know, be a great thing. So I just, you know, wish that somehow property management could look into this and either find the guy or do something about getting it cleaned up. And thirdly, and my last complaint about Fifth Street, once again, and I brought this up many times, is the flooding. During Hurricane Ida we had last month, Fifth Street, Victor, Kern, part of Van Leeuwen, that area got pretty badly flooded out. A week or a few days afterward, you noticed the amount of things that people had to throw out, furniture, they got flooded out. Hardwood floors were ripped out, a lot of damage. Is there anything that this town could do to get our engineer, who's not here, to look into alleviating this problem? Maybe by putting a second pipeline in, a better drainage system, something could be done to help that area out. And I don't know, I've been complaining about this for years and nothing is getting done. And I really wish that somehow you people could look into this and do something about it. That's all I got to say. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
I'll address it now. Some of the things. On the first thing, the dog park. My understanding of a dog park would be someplace not for a dog to poop. I mean, obviously they will, but for dogs to play. I don't know any town that has multiple dog parks. I think you're looking for a dog pooping station, which I'm not sure about. I have no problem with a dog park, and I think that we will talk about the potential for a dog park. We may have some places that it might be. I'm not sure if that's the place to have the dog park and the children's park in the same vicinity or as part of the same kind of project. But we may have some land available. I'm totally, I understand the concept of the dog park, and I agree with it. The second was Fifth Street.
Amloy.
Yeah, the Amloy project. I will personally call our property maintenance manager tomorrow morning. Because if it is, I haven't driven past there, but I know it's been an eyesore for years, and I know that we made them put up certain kind of fencing, which kind of fell down. It's been there for years. I'm not sure how much is for public consumption, but my understanding is that the owner of that property is close to developing it and making it into something. I don't know if it's for public consumption about what it is, but to clean up that area, and it will not be the eyesore that we all know that it is.
They just, I'm just sorry to interrupt, but they started with graffiti on the building.
Well, like I
now,
said,
and it
we're
really
gonna-
looks terrible.
That is, if they do what they may intend to do, you're never going to see that. That's going to be hidden. But the third thing is the flooding. I think we have done a number of things for flooding. We did pile open the drains that go under 46. We spent a lot of money and a lot of time to do that. Certain areas, unfortunately, I mean, I'm a realist. Certain areas get flooded. I mean, we see on TV, there's cars during certain events when there's that much rain in that little time, certain areas are going to get flooded. It is a low point. I think the amount of flooding, like I call Pete, I'm a pain in the butt to Pete. I call him every time we have a heavy rain. I call him up and said, "Is anything flooded?" And I know a couple of years ago, or maybe 5-10 years ago, it was Yeah, well, Fifth Street and by Zuckerberg's was the first two that would always, those are kind of like the bellwether areas. But recently, unless it's an Ida or a nor'easter or something like that, it's been a lot better than it's been.
No, it hasn't.
Well.
It's
I
been
know that
worse,
we have-
Andy. It's been
Right-
worse.
Right now, you can't. It's, well, I disagree with you because we have.
Well, I live
we have-
there, I see it when it
We have
floods.
DPW reports coming in, and again, we did do a lot to move that drain that was over 2 administrations that has the drainage behind Ambloids going around. Pete would know the particulars of it, but we spent a lot of time and a lot of money to get that, and our numbers show that there's less of a flooding issue. I look on TV when Fifth Street got flooded, and I look on TV, and I don't live on Fifth Street, I'm very sympathetic to the people that live there, but when I'm home at 6 o'clock news and I see cars floating down streets in different areas, there's some places that are prone to flooding, and sometimes, and there's nothing that can be done. We do what we can, and we do as much as we can, but there are certain rains. I mean, there was the one that was on a hill. It was a hill. How the hell does a hill get flooded? At that time, when everyone and their mother, listen, a tree fell on my house during Ida and crushed my car. Same car I sit in every night to make phone calls. And thank God I was doing a fantasy football draft and I wasn't in the car, or else you wouldn't hear me droning on and on. But, during that, people on hills got flooded. Cars going down the street. People riding into streets and being blown back. People died. I mean, we had one of our our OEM guy watched someone die in Passaic because of it. So, Bob,
I want to respond to it as well. I got a couple things to say.
about the things we've done. We're trying to do as much as we can, but sometimes there's storms that, if the guy upstairs gives us more than we can handle, that's what's going to happen.
So your answer is no answer, nothing that can be done to.
I said that we've done a number of things.
That was years
to try
ago,
and-
Andy, what have you done recently?
There.
I'm going to take, like Mr. Stumaluk, I'm going to take each one of them. The dog park, I agree that a dog park is something that is a good idea for Saddlebrook. I've been approached by many people. I, however, think Current Place is the wrong place to put a dog park. I wouldn't be in favor of it. By putting a dog park there, you're eliminating, the swings, the playground.
No, just use the other half of it.
Emil, let me finish, okay? I was kind to you, and I let you speak.
It's not a dialogue. so-
Well, it should be.
No, well, it's not.
Okay, and they're using Victor Street ball field now, pretty regularly. As you know, you live there.
Yeah, I see
So,
it.
I see it all the time. When they're playing, you have young parents, they bring their small children over, they use that park. So, you know what, they would be upset because they don't want to go park there. So, you know what, I just don't think it's the right place. And really, your issue, and I told you this personally, we've spoken about this. Listen, if people are walking their dog and allowing their dog to go poop, we have a pooper scooper law in this town. Call out. Everybody's got a Ring doorbell. I don't know, what are they afraid of? If they're complaining, the culprit has to be from the area. Why don't we call the police, go there, the police will respond, and give them a warning, or issue a summons, a local ordinance summons, and it'll stop. You know what, like Mr. Simaluka said, you know what, you have a dog park so the dogs can get out and run. It's not necessarily there for them to go to the bathroom. And the other thing too is that what you're not thinking about is, you know what, if you do put a dog park there, somebody's got to clean up after the dog. Okay, if they go number 2, yeah, but what if they urinate? Okay, which they're going to. So somebody, the DPW, is going to have to go there on a daily basis and spray it down. Otherwise, it's going to smell. So neighbors, so there's a lot barking. You know what, you're complaining about dogs defecating, on your property, okay? You have rules, let's say we have a dog park, 8 AM, so whatever, dawn to dusk, you're allowed to bring the dog there. I guarantee what's gonna happen, and that's right in a residential area, you're gonna have somebody, they're gonna bring their dog there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then, or 2 dogs, and then they're gonna start barking. They're gonna wake you up, you're gonna be complaining about the dogs barking. Anyway, personally, a horrible place, not even a bad place, a horrible place to put a dog park. That's my opinion, I respect your opinion, respect mine, okay?
Well, if
I don't wanna get into it.
There must be about 20 dogs in my
have
neighborhood.
cell
I mean,
phones,
it's
you
not
can call
one or
us
2
about this if
dogs,
you want.
it's a lot, and it's twice a day.
Please.
Okay, the dog, that's the least of the issues here.
I just hope you can resolve some of it.
The amboids, okay, Mr. Simaluka's right, I know for a fact they are going before the zoning board soon. They have an application. I can't speak too much about it, but they are gonna develop that property. If it's been getting worse and worse, I'll be honest with you. You know what? I haven't got one complaint, not one. You're the only one that complained about how it looks and about that graffiti. And believe me, I get a lot of complaints about things all over town. My secretary, myself, hasn't got one complaint about how that property looks. Okay? Maybe they just expected that it looks that way and they got used to it. I don't know. It's not right. If there's weeds all over the place, we need to take care of it, and we will. We'll call property maintenance and they'll go over there and they'll get it straightened out. And I'm sure the owner will, I know he has in the past, when we do complain, he cuts everything down and does what he has to do. Now the graffiti, are you called?
It's big letters,
You can see it from the street?
absolutely.
Okay, all right, well, we can take care of that too. The flooding on Fifth Street, I agree with Mr. Simaluka. You know what, I think he's more right than you are. We have done a lot there. Emil, you know what, this happens every time. You know what, we had Ida. So that's what's in your head. All you're thinking about now is all the flooding there, from Ida. You know what, the flooding didn't happen from Fifth Street. The flooding happened, the people that got flooded there, it was flash flooding. It was water saturation. It wasn't that water that just kept going and going and going from Fifth Street all the way down to Kern. I know a good friend of mine and yours got flooded. It wasn't from the water from Fifth Street that just kept going and going and going. It was just, there was so much water coming down, 4 inches of rain in an hour. That never happens.
Well, it happened more than once this year.
Well, you know what, there's some things that are beyond our control. Mother Nature,
It's getting worse.
Listen, I'm not saying, and the other thing too, and I know this for a fact because I've spoken to the owner or the property manager there at Ambulance. They have a plan. That creek in the back, by the way, that was done. The sheriff's department, they came, they cleaned that whole creek out and it made it better. And I talked to you about that and you said it was better.
That was years ago. What has
It
been
was
done?
2 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
Well, that's years ago. Has it been checked out or
Do
maintained?
you think, maybe, what do you think we should do? Should we
I
hire,
should
should we hire another
honestly-
DPW employee just to clean out that creek?
What if they just put another pipeline in from Fifth Street to that creek? Wouldn't that end the problem?
No, you know what, I don't know. The engineer's not here, but
Yeah,
it might
I
help.
wish he was.
But on that note, we also, the corner there, we cleaned out that sewer, which was causing a problem. Remember when it used to
Yeah,
bubble
on
up?
Fifth, yes.
That was done. Sylvan Street, before I took over in my administration, they did the whole drainage all along Sylvan Street, which helped. You know, we're doing what we can. You know what, we're doing what we can. Certain areas are problem areas, and, I don't wanna say that we're not gonna do anything, because we're gonna keep doing stuff, but, what you're talking about, these are like huge undertakings, that would cost,
Whatever.
probably millions of dollars.
If it'll stop millions of dollars in damage.
But you know what, and you were wrong, I'm sorry, you were wrong, when you said it didn't help, it did help. You're thinking about Ida, that's what you're thinking about.
I'm thinking about this is happening
Just because, listen,
frequently
it's
now.
gonna
I'm
happen
gonna
where,
stop.
have people gotten flooded? Have
Between
people
you
gotten
two,
flooded?
It's not a dialogue.
Ida, they got flooded, but, the street, there's a street flood. The people get stuck in cars.
Yeah, there were cars in the
Yes,
middle of.
I agree with you, but you know what, that's not property damage. Every time it floods there, if it rains, people aren't getting flooded. The street gets flooded. It's different. If every time it rained hard, you know what, and the street flooded, all those homes were getting flooded out, and the businesses along there were getting flooded out, it would be a different story. Then we would say, okay, we have to do something.
Mayor, I just wish we could hear from the engineer if we could do, if, just by putting another pipeline in from Fifth Street to that creek in the back would eliminate the problem, that would be,
We'll bring it up, you know what, to stop this,
I think it's just more
we'll,
water.
we'll bring it up to the engineer, but what you're saying is just putting a pipe, it's gotta go someplace.
yeah.
It's not that easy to just put a pipe in, and that's gonna take all that water. Like the mayor said, flash floods happen. Unfortunately, when you get 4 inches of rain in an hour, certain areas, especially the low-lying areas, are gonna get flooded. You know, so, all right,
Sorry about that.
anybody else?
No, you're entitled to your opinion.
Okay, I'm gonna entertain a motion to close the meeting to the public.
Second.
Mrs. Mays, or second by Mr. Garrick. We'll do a roll call.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Council President Simulcast.
Yes, Mayor, updates,
Yes, thank you.
including COVID-19.
Yeah, I got that. I'm going to start with a proclamation. It's, I received an email from this group and asking me, and several other towns did proclamations on it. I'm going to read it. It's in recognition of Family Court Month. Whereas the organization One Mom's Battle and the Family Court Awareness Committee share a mission to raise awareness of the importance of having a family court system that prioritizes children's safety. And whereas in 2020, some of the United States' top advocates in the family court system joined forces in a united effort to shine a light on one of the most important branches of our judicial system. Whereas the organizations work hard to improve the family court system by helping educate court professionals, instruct training on domestic violence, recognize signs of childhood trauma, and post-separation abuse awareness. So now, therefore, on this 4th day of November 2021, I, Robert D. White, of the Township of Saddlebrook, wish to recognize and honor the 100-plus children who lost their lives at the hands of a parent after a custody court rejected the other parent's plea for protection, and do hereby proclaim November as Family Court Awareness Month. Thank you. Next, the COVID update. In general, 77.7% of individuals ages 12 and over have received at least one shot. That's nationally. In New Jersey, over 87% of those eligible have received at least one dose. Today, 2 in 3 eligible individuals in the nation, 190 million Americans, are fully vaccinated. The 7-day national average for new cases is down 23% from the previous week, and the 7-day average for deaths is down 17% from the previous week. New Jersey 7-day average for new COVID cases is down 26% from the previous week, and the 7-day average for deaths is level from the previous week. Hospitalizations in our state are down 11% from the previous week. Last week in Saddlebrook, we had 11 new cases, which has been about average, which over the last 2 months, which is very, very good considering what it was in the past at the height of the COVID pandemic. Okay, as more and more Americans receive the vaccine, the most recent wave of infection continues to slow. You can do your part to protect yourself and slow the spread by getting vaccinated and joining the over 6 million people in New Jersey who are now fully vaccinated. As of today, New Jersey has fully vaccinated, again, over 6 million individuals. The overwhelming number of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths in New Jersey are among unvaccinated people. Vaccination is the only way to stop the spread of this virus. Anyone aged 12 and older who lives, works, or studies in New Jersey is eligible for the vaccine, and now the CDC has approved the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. The first shots were given yesterday, actually, in Bergen County at Newbridge Medical Center for children aged 5 to 11. Booster shots, if you receive 2 doses of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine and are 65 or older, or a long-term care patient, an adult with underlying medical conditions, or an adult at increased risk of COVID-19 exposure because of your job or living situation, you are eligible for a booster shot at least 6 months after your second shot. If you are moderately or severely immunocompromised, you are eligible for a third dose at least 4 weeks after your second shot. You can learn more about vaccines by going to the frequently asked questions page on the New Jersey website, covid19nj.gov. That's covid19.nj.gov. You can reach the state vaccine hotline. It's 855-568-0545 between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. daily, and speak to a trained operator. Municipal building. We're making significant progress there. We have a full crew working on site now. There is a dedicated section to the municipal building with photos and descriptions of the work being done on our township website, saddlebrooknj.us. I know that the steel for the second floor was put in, the rough plumbing in the floors was inspected and covered up, so that's all done. So we're moving along quite well there. We have bond ordinances, 2 of them on tonight. One for police radio communication system, upgrading the infrastructure and purchase of new portable radios and mobile units. Also sewer upgrade, maintenance and repair of pump stations and the force main. We also are replacing the water main and paving Hobson Avenue. That's coming up shortly. Replacement of water main hookups on Midland Avenue between President Street and Outwater Lane. That's also going to be done soon. We've been notified by the state of New Jersey that we're receiving $215,000 of funding from municipal aid grant by the New Jersey Department of Transportation to pave Cambridge Avenue. That'll probably be done next year. The township is now online for payments of taxes. You go to the town website, saddlebrooknj.us. We will soon have online payments for water bills as well. They're working on that. Should be done shortly. Some past events. We had a lot of events this month in October, or last month I should say. The senior Halloween party at the VFW was a nice event. I want to thank the restaurants that donated: Frank's Pizza, Golden Pub, and Mucci's Deli. I want to thank Council President Karen Darminio, Senior Director Joe Lisi, Christine Generario, Sandy Goodwin, Howard Rafofsky, and our photographer Thomas Van Winkle for all their help. Trunk or treat was in the parking lot of the new municipal building. It was very well attended. In fact, it was packed. I couldn't believe how many kids and parents that we had there. It was the whole 2 hours. I want to thank all the volunteers who decorated their vehicle trunks. I want to thank the Projects and Activities Committee, especially Council President Karen Darminio, Councilman Todd Accomondo, his wife Shannon Accomondo, Christine Generario, and Lisa Soroki for helping out. Members of the Mayor's Youth Group, also photographer Thomas Van Winkle, and our police department, who had a trunk this year, which was nice, but they also had officers there assisting with traffic, and the Department of Public Works. The Halloween decorating contest, I want to thank all this year's contestants. I want to thank Christine Generario, Thomas Van Winkle, and the members of the Mayor's Youth Group. Just so you know, photos of all these events can be found on our town Facebook page and website. Also, some of the events are videotaped and can be viewed on our town TV, Channel 77 Cablevision, Channel 38 Verizon, and also on YouTube. I'm going to read. Our friend Thomas Van Winkle wanted to be here tonight to, I can get rid of this. He wanted me to read his update. He usually comes, but he couldn't make it tonight. So I wanted me to read his report. To begin, I would like to thank all members for their volunteerism at the Halloween events, including the senior Halloween party on October 28th and trunk or treat on Halloween. The members also served as judges in this year's Halloween decorating contest. I'd like to acknowledge the winners of the Halloween decorating contest. The address is 76 Oxford, was first. Second place was 53 Culvert, and third place was 48 Ackerman. I would also like to congratulate all the winners and thank everyone who went to the contest this year. Everyone did a spectacular job with the decorations. I would also like to apologize to the resident of 48 Ackerman. I had photographed the wrong house on Ackerman initially. This past Monday, he retook photos of the correct house. All photos can be found on the youth group Facebook page. I mean, this guy really goes out of his way. He does so much for the town. The Mayor's Youth Group will meet again on Saturday, November 20th at 10:30 a.m. at Town Hall. We will discuss our participation in the township Christmas holiday activities. All residents in grades 4 to 12 are welcome to join. So, thank you, Thomas, for that. Finish up. Thursday, November 11th is Veterans Day. Municipal offices are closed. Grass and leaves from section number 4 will be picked up the next day on Friday, November 12th. Upcoming events, Thomas said, tree lighting ceremony, Friday, November 26th. It's the day after Thanksgiving in the parking lot of our new municipal complex, starting at 6 p.m. We're not having a party afterwards this year. It's just going to be the tree lighting and maybe some light refreshments afterwards. Pete, you ready to spend some money?
I have no choice.
I want to congratulate the winners of the Board of Education election, Gina, Victoria Torvik, and Haley Traverso. I want to thank our town clerk, Peter Ladico, and all the book workers who put in a long day. They did a great job with the elections, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll go to council comments. We'll start with Mr. Adams.
It's a tough act to follow, Bob, but I also would like to hit on the trunk or treat. It was, first I'd like to thank everybody that showed up, volunteer or resident. This was well attended. We had easily, with parents, close to, if not over 1,000 people attend. Every car just about ran out of candy. Everybody had to scurry to Acme or Walgreens or Dollar General and get some more candy just to keep it going. The line was, I don't know, Flo was there, Dave was there, the line was probably 150, 200 feet long just prior to getting in to the area. So thank you everybody for that. Thank you to the volunteers, of course, my wife, Karen, Christine.
Yeah, it's the first name.
Yeah, we can forget it. She's incoming, but yeah, thank you to everybody that did show up. It was great. And I would just like to commend Lisa. I would just like to commend this is the first year the police department's been involved, and it was a great tribute to late Officer Mike Luciano, who used to hand out candy to the kids on Halloween. So great job by them. It was a great goal. And just like to say happy Veterans Day, happy Thanksgiving, and happy birthday to my wife, whose birthday is this month also. And congratulations to the school board, Borelli, Torvik, and Traverso. I wish you the best of luck. It's a very hard job. Thank you.
Gary?
Good evening. In regards to the flood committee, I'd just like to thank Mayor White for giving the update last month. I wasn't here, so he gave an update, so thank you. We're looking to have another meeting before the end of the year, most likely in December at some point. I too would like to mention the trunk or treat, thank all the volunteers. It was a huge success. Hundreds of people, everybody had a great time. Also, congratulations to the Board of Education members, Kelly Traverso, Gina Morale, and Vicki Torvik. Again, good luck. Not an easy job if you've ever sat on the board. And finally, just happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
I too would like to congratulate all the Board of Education members that actually won, and also the ones that did actually run. I commend you for coming out and giving it your best shot. Also, the trunk or treat was a fun day, and the creativity was amazing that went into all the vehicles. It was a fun day. And happy Veterans Day, and also happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you.
The mayor mentioned November 11th is Veterans Day, next Thursday. So that'll be 11/11 at 11 a.m. The VFW will be holding a ceremony at VFW Circle on South River Road at the intersection of West Wing. It's usually pretty well attended, and we look forward to seeing everyone out there. Thank you to the veterans for all your service, those who are here and those who have passed. The municipal complex coming along, and for those who went there, you can see that the area that the complex is in is a good area. We were able to fit everybody in there, and it's got a, whenever you're building something, the number one concern seems to be, we have a member of the zoning board here, and I know that the number one concern when you're doing zoning is parking. And that's the one thing that, one of the things that we have in abundance there is parking. So it was good to have a spot where we can do that. So, and thanks to everyone, all the volunteers and the participants. We talked earlier at our, the meeting before this one, about the park. And again, we didn't forget about the park. We are working with our county representatives to try and get it fixed up as much as possible. We even talked about potentially to avoid flooding events, to see if we can do something and get them to, when we know that something's going to happen, to lower the lake. So we're thinking that even if you lower the lake by a foot or two, it's got to be, I don't know now, hundreds of thousands, millions of gallons that can be absorbed. And if it's on its way from the river to Salvador Road and the house is there, hopefully it would be able to take that. So we are going to contact the county in order to see if that is feasible. And we know that there are valves there, but the valves probably haven't been touched in 50 or 60 years. So we need to see what is involved in that. But we are working on that. The election, congratulations to the victors, and condolences to the people that didn't make it, but thank you for running. Getting involved in government and then serving the people is a great honor and a privilege. Again, congrats to our county, Tracy Zerr and Steve Tonelli, our county commissioners, our assembly people, Lisa Swain and Chris Tully, and our Senator Joe Lagana. A special shout out to two Saddlebrook residents that put their hat in the ring and ran. Rich Garcia ran for Senate, and Jerry Taylor ran for Assembly with Al Mastrofilippo from Monterey. I went to bed and they were winning. They won. I texted Jerry, congratulations. And, fortunately for Jerry and for Rich, when I woke up, they had won because of mail-in ballots and the votes that hadn't been counted. But damn, they came real close. So you guys ran a good campaign, and congratulations and a great effort by you, and congrats to our new school board members. We're here on the council for you. Tonight we have a resolution for the SLEOs, the special law enforcement officers, that the town is providing for our students, for the board. So we're here, especially to those that are getting on, that are new. We like to work in conjunction with you. We have, are you still the liaison?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mr. Garrett, former Board of Ed trustee, is our liaison. So we're more than happy to discuss things. We feel, I feel, and I'm sure it's echoed by my colleagues here, that we try and do as much as we can to assist the Board of Ed. We are technically two separate entities, but we all work for the same goal, and that is for the citizens, the taxpayers, and the children of our town. So don't be afraid to call on us. And I think that's all I have, and we can go into ordinances. You want to start with reading? When you go?
Sure.
Okay, the first ordinance that we have is ordinance 1711-21 for first reading, a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements. Okay. Now, this is a short one, I'll read it. Ordinance 1710-21 for second reading. An ordinance amending chapter 203 entitled Water of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook regarding certain fees charged by the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey. For second reading. This is a motion for second reading. Second by Ms. Mazur, second by Mr. Garrick. Roll call.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samuel?
Yes.
An ordinance amending Chapter 203 entitled Water of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook regarding certain fees charged by the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey.
Motion for a public hearing. Motion by Ms. Mazer, second by Mr. Economic. Roll call.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samuel?
Yes, the public hearing on this ordinance is open. All persons interested may now have the opportunity to be heard by the council. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close to the public.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Mazer, second by Mr. Garrett. Roll call.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samuel?
Yes, please read the resolution.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 203 entitled Water of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook regarding certain fees charged by the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Mazer, second by Mr. Economic. Roll call.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samuel?
Yes, that was to bond for equipment and infrastructure for our water system. Second ordinance that we have, it's for a first reading, it's 171121, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery in, by, and for the water utility. Wait, is it the same?
Different.
I'm sorry, the first one was for water meters. This is for the infrastructure. I'm getting ahead of myself. Township of Saddlebrook, the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $780,000 to pay the costs thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bond. Motion to give it a first reading. Motion by Mr. Economic, second by Ms. Mazer. Roll call.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samuel?
Yes, please give a reading on first reading.
Be resolved by the Township Council, by the Township of Saddlebrook, that a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery and by imported water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $780,000 to pay the costs thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the second day of December 2021 at 7:00 p.m. or sooner after, as the matter can be reached at the municipal building, 93 Market Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Okay, motion to pass on first reading. Ms. Mazer, second by Mr. Economic. Roll call.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samuel?
Yes. Next ordinance for first reading, ordinance 171221. The bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of various sanitary sewer system improvements in, by, and for the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $475,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Motion to give the first reading. Motion by Mr.
Second.
Economic, second by Mr. Garrett. Roll call.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samuel?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council that a bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of various sanitary sewer system improvements in, by, and for the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $475,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes In anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the second day of December 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m. Or sooner after, as the matter can be reached at the municipal building, 93 Market Street, and at such time and place, all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Okay, a motion to pass on first reading. Motion by
Second.
Mr. Alcomondo, second by Mr. Garrett, roll call.
Councilman Mazur?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Samuelka?
Yes, passed on first reading. The fourth ordinance, and I believe the final ordinance tonight, is ordinance 1713-21, bond ordinance to authorize the acquisition of a new police communications system in, by, and for the Township of Southbrook, in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $580,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds, to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Motion to give it a first reading. Ms.
Second.
Mazur, second by Mr. Accomando, roll call.
Councilman Mazur?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Samuelka?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Sanibrook that the bond ordinance to authorize the acquisition of a new police communications system in by and for the Township of Sanibrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $580,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the second day of December 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after this matter can be reached at the municipal building, 93 Market Street. As such time and place, all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion to pass on first reading. Ms. Mazur, second by Mr. Accomando, roll call.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Samuelka?
Yes, passes on first reading. Next is the consent agenda.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requested, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Does anyone request any item to be pulled from the consent agenda? Seeing none, a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Garrett, second by Mr. Accomando, roll call.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Council President Samuelka?
Yes.
We have the minutes of the October 7th, 2021 regular public meeting.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Ms. Mazur, second by Mr. Accomando, roll call.
Councilman Garrett?
Abstain?
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Council President Samuelka?
Abstain.
And we have mayor's appointments.
The October 27th.
That was part of consent.
Okay, the next one is,
We have library board appointment. Mayor is appointing Jill Garrick for an unexpired term, and is requesting the council give their advice and consent on the appointment.
the motion for advice and consent from the council. Motion by
Second.
Ms. Mazur, second by Mr. Accomando, roll.
Councilman Samuelka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Abstain?
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Okay, next is old, we usually do it together, old business and new business. anything that we haven't discussed yet in our council comments that anyone would like to address? Mayor?
I failed to mention about the VFW service for Veterans Day. Did he say, did you use that, what, 11?
11 o'clock, 11 and 11.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you for doing that. The other thing I mentioned is, a few of my council colleagues here mentioned it. I think it's important to recognize those people from the Board of Ed that lost. It takes a lot of courage to put your name, on a ballot to run for a position. That's a position it's often said to be a thankless job. There's no compensation. It's difficult, and for them just to basically volunteer and to be willing to run is a big thing, and they should be commended for that. And you know what? Try again. You know what? A lot of people, the board every year is election. Every year, because 3 members have to run, and every year there's 3 people that are up, because there's 9-member board. So give it a try next time. I mean, one of the candidates, I got to commend her. She kept trying, and I'll mention her name. I'm really happy for her because Haley Traverso. I mean, several times, and this was the time for her. She kept at it, and she ran a good campaign. She went door to door, which was, it's a big thing, knocking on people's doors and talking to them and asking for their vote. I think that was very helpful to her. So congratulations to the winners and the ones that lost. It's difficult to lose, but keep trying. If you really want to keep trying, you'll get it.
Anybody else with?
They got planned for redevelopment.
Right, under new business, we had a best practice
96
survey
condos.
that came in, and I'm just going to ask our township clerk, administrator, and most importantly, PACO representative to discuss that.
Thank you, Council President. Every year, the state of New Jersey requires every municipality to do a survey, and it could potentially affect the last payment of state aid if the score drops below a certain point. I'm proud to say that Saddlebrook has answered all but 2 questions in the affirmative, that we're complying with all best practices, which includes core competencies, financial, shared services, and then they have other questions that you don't score on. But financial administration, budget, these are all important items, and the township is in compliance with everything. One question they asked, and probably for future, is do you provide electric charging stations for electric vehicles? It's something we don't, and maybe something to look at in the future. But I don't know too many municipalities that does offer that service. So it's something to look into. So I'm very happy to say that we will get our full state aid this year, and it's been filed with the state.
No, I just wanted to mention about that. I just remembered one of the applications that came before the planning board. They had submitted for parking spaces, and some of the parking spaces
This
had
for electric.
for electric vehicles. It was the affordable housing
Okay.
project. So.
One thing I forgot to say, and I wasn't here at the last meeting, I'm not sure exactly when he passed away, but the head of our grant writing service, Mr. John Bruno, passed away, and I want to extend from council and obviously the mayor, extend our condolences to the Bruno family on their loss. I know that family is very, very tight family. I think John, the son, who was an attorney, and I have known him for years, would have dinner with his father, or dinner, breakfast, or lunch, probably 7 days a week. Very, very close, and it's a big loss, and a big loss to us because he was the head of our grant writing firm. But they're going to go on. They've got a number of good people to take on the reins and continue providing good service. His grandson is there. Usually we see them, and maybe we will see them again at the League of Municipalities Conference. I'd like to make a motion, or have a motion, entertain a motion, to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only. Motion by Ms. Mazur, second by Mr. Accomando. Is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Do we want to address the council on the agenda items? Seeing none, entertain a motion to close. Motion by Ms. Mazur, second by Mr. Accomando. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any final comments before we adjourn until after Thanksgiving? Hopefully everyone will have a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you have a lot to be thankful for.
Sir, thank you.
We're thankful for everyone out there who tunes in and is part of this this governmental process. We really appreciate your input, even in motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Council President Simulte.
Yes, thank you, everyone.